Good morning. Safety in numbers this morning. So first of all, I just wanted to credit Dave Corkish for this fantastic capture of a dolphin, possibly starlight or moonlight, I'm not quite sure which one, and certainly our flagship, the Manxman, looking absolutely splendid on her round the island cruise earlier this summer, which was a really fantastic success. So a great picture, thanks, Dave. So we are, or we will be, in 5 years' time, 200 years old. In fact, we will be the oldest continuously operating passenger shipping company in the world. So that's all pretty good. However, what I wanted to say today is that we are certainly not resting on our laurels, quite the contrary, in fact. We take absolutely nothing for granted, and we are resolutely forward-looking and totally determined to make ferry travel the better choice for all of our customers. How are we going to do that? Well, we've got a very competent, experienced and energetic team providing the service that we provide. And we're equipped with a good fleet, a fleet that we are improving, we're investing in heavily. The Manxman, as you know, cost 80 million quid, delivered on time. She's a very high quality ship. And you only have to look across the water to see some of the issues other ferry companies have had in designing, building and delivering modern ferries on time. People find it very difficult to do, but we were successful in that. We've done that, and we're doing all this at no cost to the taxpayer. And again, that makes it pretty unusual. Many other ferry companies in the Northern Hemisphere get a subsidy of some sort. We get none. And whilst we're doing that, we are fair. I feel that we're fair not just to the taxpayer, we're fair to our staff, the residents on the islands, travellers, freight customers. We're fair in terms of the service that we provide and the price which we provide it. And we believe that this approach supports government's targets for economic growth and will, over time, ensure a proper return on investment for the investment that the government itself made in the company a few years ago. So, as I say, we're the opposite of complacent, and we recognise that we live our life in the spotlight, on the front page of the newspaper and on social media. And we fully accept that as part of our responsibility and our role. We've done a lot, but we've got a lot more to achieve. This morning I'm just going to touch on a few things that we did. Affordability was a key promise that we made last year just after the government conference. And we have made ferry travel significantly cheaper. We have already done that, and we are proposing to do more of that. The customer service on board is booking on boards, and generally, I think, is much improved. If you haven't been on the Manxman, I thoroughly recommend it. It's a great service. The onboard offer is really good, and the general facilities and amenities around you are of literally the best in class. Connectivity is another key area for us to invest in. The Liverpool winter sailings have been very well taken on board by the travelling public. The sea terminal in Liverpool is something that we're determined to make an effective investment for the island as a whole. And the new Belfast, or the improved Belfast service at the end of the summer, was a great success. We're looking very closely at connectivity, just as the airlines do. I mean, our market's obviously slightly different, but you know, we have to look at Dublin, with 2.1 million inhabitants. Liverpool, 1.6 million. Belfast, 0.6 million. These are the centres of population that we have on our doorstep and which we must serve better. And we're not announcing anything today in terms of new connectivity, but it's no secret to say that we're looking very closely indeed at the Irish market and how we can better serve that. And then we've worked very hard with businesses, especially hoteliers, in terms of promoting shoulder season, and the Manx food suppliers. And over 95% of the food and beverage that we sell on board the ships are from Manx suppliers. So we're making a big investment there. In terms of affordability, which was the key focus area that we announced last year, we spent a lot of time benchmarking our price and performance against other ferry companies. Where we put ourselves under the spotlight and test ourselves regularly on pricing. Notwithstanding the fact that we were allowed to increase our fares under the SSA agreement in 24, we decided not to do that to help people with the cost of living. That cost us £3 million back in 24, and then in the last 12 months, or the last few months, these are some of the other investments that we made from our revenue account into boosting volumes on the ships. And I think probably the most popular of those has been Kids Go Free. That actually cost us £800,000 to introduce. It's been well understood, well taken up. We got a lot of extra volume as well, so the net cost of that was actually 340 grand, which we felt was a really sensible way of putting our profit and loss account to work in support of growing the business. So, then the fare offers, all of this has actually reduced our average ticket yield. And in terms of value for money, it was we're 25 quid a leg on average for foot passengers, which is incredibly good value. And you'll actually see us in the Manx CPI, the Manx inflation index. We feature as part of sea traffic at minus 7.5% in the last 12 months. So we're doing our bit. We recognise there's a lot more to do, and Brian is going to explain what else we're doing. Thanks.
So I think Dan touched on there the customer service and customer experience that we pride ourselves on. It's always been a traditional strength of the companies that everyone enjoys excellent customer service while on board, ashore, and also when things go wrong, we try and help where we can. We have appointed a new head of customer experience who brings a wealth of knowledge and talent from across the island, who is charged with improving customer service, customer experience across the company. We like to think that the warm Manx welcome that people get on the ship is a sort of opening shop window to the island, and allows them to see what's on offer when they reach the Isle of Man. We know there are still gaps, which is why we're also investing in customer feedback, investing in digital platforms, and putting the customer first. We've touched on connectivity, one of the themes of the conference. So it might seem strange that a ferry company puts this connectivity third on our priority list, but we want to reflect that we don't get pricing and customer experience right, there's no point in having connectivity. Last winter saw strong growth on the Liverpool route thanks to the Manxmen sailing to the new Isle of Man ferry terminal. The Belfast route saw improvements at the beginning of this year. The Ben McCree stepped in to support operations to allow the other vessels to concentrate on customers, while supporting the freight route as well. Into next year, the priority is to develop the routes and services further to maximise benefits to the Isle of Man. This has been reflected in discussions around the future of the services agreement framework, which are ongoing with the Isle of Man government. So you can see there, there's many initiatives outlined so far that will work if we're hand in hand with Isle of Man and the UK businesses looking to develop opportunities to grow on the Isle of Man. We've appointed a business development manager to drive business-to-business opportunities in the visitor economy, but we're also looking to deepen those relationships elsewhere in the economy. The message very much remains our door is open for conversations. It's important that we remind our partners that we are not a charity and we're happy to work with any business who wants to engage with us. So these are some of the results from last year. You can see we've increased foot and vehicle passengers by 6%. The interesting one there is the increased passengers on the Belfast route, 34%. So that's been a big push from us to grow that connectivity. Some of you may have seen the marketing campaign where we had Max Radio involved and we had the radio station from Belfast involved as well for bringing people the other way. So I think we've seen that as a great success and something we want to push on in the future with. So here's for the major milestones for the future. The Sea Services Agreement has been renegotiated. We want improved fare transparency. We're looking at single leg pricing, a bit like you see when you go into some famous airlines. You can see the month view and what each leg's going to cost you. That's been in development this year. So we're hoping to launch that at some point in the near future. Enhanced timetable availability. We've opened our calendar up for 18 months. So the travel trade had fed back that they wanted to book holidays further in advance. So we've listened and we've done that. And the next exciting news is the Manhattan replacement. So we have a commitment to replace that. In the next 5 years, we'd like to have that in service. So, of course, there'll be a full public consultation. We'll engage with businesses and other stakeholders. And that should be quite exciting for the future. So on that future fleet strategy, you can see that Manhattan will be nearly 30 years old. The replacement must comply with existing and future emissions regulations, which I think is a challenge in the transport sector. I think we're seeing that in other jurisdictions with new ferries as well. The interesting part is about the capability deputised for freight, enhance the passenger facilities to match Manxman's, and of course, going back to that sustainability note, the flexibility on fuel sources. I think that's one of the key concerns for the future in any other vessels that we bring in. So these are some of the investments that we've made to drive future growth. The leadership team has been created internally to sort of concentrate on these areas and lead the management team further. Future fleet strategy, the Manhattan replacement, hopefully for 2030. Additional Ben McCree refit this year and the beginning of next year. We're doing work on the Ben McCree to bring it up to some standards. We also have the debt repayment in 2024 of 5.2 million and 2.3 million of interest. And we aim to reserve 50% of capital costs for each new vessel. So, there's a significant investment being made by the company. And I think we need to say that money needs to come from somewhere. We want to develop wider business and community organisation partnerships to increase economic benefit to the Isle of Man. That's something that we are committed to and want to hear from anyone who wants to work with us. So, running a ferry company is inherently expensive. I think Dan touched on ferry services in other jurisdictions around the British Isles, which are seeing significant challenges. And we as a management team and board, we need to see those off and make sure we have a sustainable company going out into the future to sustain the long-term connectivity of the Isle of Man. So you can see there the estimated cost of vessel replacements over the next 25 years is 276 million at today's prices, a huge number. But our strategy is an estimated cost to the taxpayer of zero. So that should be a good news story. Taking money off the taxpayer isn't something that we want to do. We believe that the traveller should pay for their travel. So thank you.